right. As my good friend Carnivore Soldier would say, all right, all right, all right. We are live. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is John. I'm Carnivore Backwoods. I appreciate you showing up tonight for our live stream. This is Carnivore Life. Today we're going to have on here Randy, the ground beef guy. Let me pull him in here. Randy, how you doing tonight, bud?
Hey, man, doing great. Glad to be with you tonight.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, Randy, I appreciate you being on here. I appreciate you, taking some time to spend with us tonight. We're gonna, be just kind of going over your carnivore journey and talking about it, and then we'll be taking questions from the audience. And let's see here. We'll give a few minutes here for some people to join in here. We got Who's Your Carnivore? Hello, buddy. How's it going? Mama Bear Lynette. She says, "Hi, Randy."
Hey, Mama Bear.
Awesome seeing you at KPL.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Up there.
And then, of course, sometime before we got here, Carnivore Trucker was in here trying to harass me, call me Daddy Butter again. But he's the butter trucker, and just make sure everybody in the trucking world knows that he is the butter trucker.
I'm going to try to stay away from getting a nickname.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
That was good.
All right. Well, we're getting a few people in here, Randy. So we'll go ahead and go. Randy, so like I said, I appreciate you being on the channel. And, this is all about you. So we want to hear your story. So kind of give us a backstory on dealing with your weight and health, over the years, other diets, whatnot that you've been on.
All right. So, yeah, I feel like I don't know if there's ever been a time that I can ever remember that I've been at maybe once since I was a child that and when you go back to like being a kid, that age range, I've always been a bigger guy. I always felt like I've been somebody that's been picked on about weight most of my life. And family, same kind of deal. Mom and dad, both overweight. And so even at a young age, introduced to dieting at a young age, always, I can remember conversations. I can remember some vivid conversations as a kid with my dad, and just riding in the car in the back seat and saying, "Hey, can we stop and get some ice cream?" And I remember one specific time where my dad, he got mad. He said, "Son, you don't want to grow up and be overweight like me," and I think of that often, but just tried all those diets. I remember getting those, seemed like there was one, the first diet I remember was something that had something to do with it was some kind of mailing type thing. Can't remember. It was about that time. Do you remember I'm trying to think of what they called it. It was
Weight Watchers, or
no, it wasn't Weight Watchers. It was a fad before there were computers and that kind of thing. It was some kind of fad type diet even back then. But I remember doing those ones where you would do it like for 7 days. You would have it might be a couple of eggs for breakfast and a saltine cracker. It was a real weird. And then the evening time would be vegetables and like 2 hot dogs. I mean, it was a real weird type diet.
I'm not familiar with that one, but
supposed to lose like 10 pounds in 7 days or something. And it usually worked. I mean,
if you're starving yourself, you're probably going to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah, it was a real extreme low calorie. It was definitely under 1,000 calories.
Wow.
But all that kind of stuff, Slim Fast, man, you name it. Atkins, low carb. I always felt like the lower carb type stuff was successful. I felt like it did feel somewhat better on doing those type diets. Um, I guess fast forward up to about 2009, my dad he got diagnosed with renal cancer, and I remember, again, one of the last conversations I had with him was, man, you got two daughters at that time. They were both very young. He was like, man, you need to try to lose it, for him. That was one of the last things he told me. So that's always kind of stuck in the back of my mind, but it's just always been a struggle and um, you know, up and down, back and forth, lose some, did a shake type diet, where I, for several days, like 70 something days, nothing but liquid protein shakes, lost about 100 pounds. Um, did that a diet when I was about 18 or 19. I got to about the smallest point that I'd ever been at as adult, um, about 220. Was the smallest point I ever got to, and that came with just cutting out. It was less than 1,000 calories a day, and I, was, I did a lot of exercising during that. But at that age, you're 18, 19, you can do a lot more at that age than you can, now. But so anyway,
Well, so I'm sorry to hear about your dad and the cancer and stuff. And I lost my dad at 52 when he was 52.
My dad was 62, and my mom as well. I lost my mom to cancer at 62. So
my dad had a heart attack. He was overweight for a good portion of his life too. And it led ultimately to heart failure and a heart attack. And like I said, he was 52, and I just turned 49 here just a couple months ago. So I'm pushing closer and closer to that age, and so.
It's kind of amazing how you start thinking about, hey, I want to make it. I mean, I want to make it past the age my parents made,
Yeah, it starts becoming reality as you get closer and closer to it. So, yeah, I feel for you there, but it's a struggle, and I've struggled with my weight since I was a kid. I mean, up till about the time I was probably, I don't know, 12, 13 years old, I was pretty skinny and active. But after that, well, at 13, I shot up to 6'2". I was the tallest kid in school, but then I just packed on the weights up in fierce, and I got morbidly obese, there for a while. I have no idea what my total weight was. It was probably much higher than I am, or was when I started this diet, to tell you the truth. But I wouldn't even have weighed myself on the scale. I was so embarrassed with myself at the time. So I understand the struggles of being a kid and being overweight and being, people trying to pick on you. Now, when you go to 6'2", the picking on you kind of slows down a little bit because I suddenly became bigger than everybody else there. I know what you mean.
Yep. I lost my dad. Like I said, of course, they were both big, mom and dad. Dad, he had done a couple of crazy diets too, lost a bunch of weight, and then gained it back. Just same. It's kind of almost like it's an hereditary type thing. But now his cancer, I believe he was a Vietnam veteran, and I think it was more related to he was in artillery in the Army, exposed to Agent Orange. So I'm thinking possibly that,
240.
no doubt, it probably connected in some way. So
absolutely.
But
absolutely. So you made it to there. How old are you now?
So I'm 50.
You're 50.
Yep, 50.
So, I mean, you've been in a long struggle like me. We've been dealing with weight off and on. I got down to probably about 230, 240 in 2012.
Yeah.
And then got put on some statins, some high cholesterol. Well, I actually changed statins. I was on Lipitor before, which wasn't really bothering me. And then they switched me to simvastatin. And I started getting bad muscle cramps, and I ended up putting all the weight back on. And I've really struggled since then, until recently to get my weight under control until I found Carnivore. So how did you find carnivore? What's the story on that?
Yeah, so let me back up just a little bit before we get there. So
Sure.
in 2013, this was after the liquid diet that I got down to about 310, 315 on that diet in 2013. Started piling it back on, and ballooned up to my top weight, which was 479 in 2013. So in January of that year, I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. I didn't, so I should have, I don't know. Back in my mind, I probably should have known, anybody out there that's watching this tonight, if you're considering a weight loss type of surgery, it's not a quick fix. I mean, it is in some ways, but if you don't change your eating habits, you're going to gain it back, is what's going to happen. You're going to gain some of it back anyway. So I was 479. I lost about 100 pounds with that vertical sleeve. I may be looking back on it. The other option was the gastric bypass, which in the back of my mind, which this is what tells me I wasn't ready to do it to start with. The back of my mind was, if I get that gastric bypass, that's going to cut out all sweets for me altogether. So that was the main reason. I said I want to still be able to have a sweet every once in a while. So that ultimately became the downfall. So I gained some back. I got back up, 434, like I said, was the beginning of this year. So fast forward, the carnivore. So Dr. Barry and those guys, they came out. I've been watching them before they had 1,000 subscribers. I don't know how I got kind of hooked up in it and started watching what he was talking about and just following it. And I dabbled with it a few times here and there, never really fully committed to doing it. But I attribute that to not getting in a group, a support group type of people, like we've got a couple different ones on Facebook, but in different places. But Sean, the intentional carnivore, he's the guy that really kind of inspired me to really dig in and go for it and try to give it at least 90 days. I've never done 90 days on it, so I'm at 144 days now, and to be honest, I haven't been perfect, but I'm down 66 pounds from 434, so I'm at 368 now. And I feel better than I ever have. And I'm not that, wanting to get something sweet is not there like it was, even like with Atkins, like the carnivore. I mean, I think that's been the trick to staving off the sweets and things like that so far. But yeah, so how I got to it was just seeing Dr. Barry, then Kelly Hogan, Sean Baker, and I think there's a couple other guys that I haven't heard of mentioned a lot. That Mark Bell, I don't know if you ever seen him. Him and his brother, they were kind of lobbying for a carnivore type of lifestyle, and I think even when they were doing that thing for the carnivore movie or whatever, that Mark actually, I saw him chime in on something there that he wanted to be a part of it, but I didn't know if anybody knew who he was when he chimed in. But so yeah, just been around, kind of been watching it. But yeah, Sean, he's the man. How could you not be inspired by what he's done?
Sean is inspiring, man, in so many ways.
Yeah. So
I love Sean dearly, and he's very inspiring. I mean, he's inspiring on his spiritual journey. He's inspiring on his carnivore journey. I have nothing but respect for that man.
The connection that we had was the Bible college that he graduated from is actually the same one that I graduated from, like, I don't know, 10 years prior to him. So I saw that he was a graduate there, and that's when I reached out and said, hey, man, tell me a little bit more about what you're doing, and kind of went back and forth a little bit with him. But so here I am today in it. But I've been watching. I know any of the people in the group here that's kind of follow Kip, he's been struggling here lately, old Carnivore Kip, and with the just going off plan. And I'm trying to. He kind of reminds me so much of me because so many times, man, it would just be like, just this one meal, just this one, I don't know, pint of ice cream, and then it's never just one though. It always spirals into a day, and I'll start back Monday, then I'll start back the first of the month. Or, man, well, Thanksgiving's coming up now. Well, I might as well kick it all January 1st, and then it kind of gets in a. So I've tried to Sean said something in one of his videos one time about setting boundaries. So I've tried to set some boundaries. I'm not going to eat any sweets. Now I've had some pickles, some dill pickles, and some salads. And I think I saw where Mama Bear had asked about what we had for supper tonight. And,
yeah, we'll go back and answer questions here in a minute.
So anyway, I'm trying to get back in. I want to because I have slipped a little and had some vegetation, I guess you'd call it, some veg. I'm trying to change it back up and get back in. I'm trying to get back into an all meat.
Let me ask you this: when you were eating wrong and you were getting fat, did you not every once in a while eat something healthy?
Yeah, that's true.
And you still got fat, right? Well, the opposite's true too, right? You can be on a healthy diet and every once in a while slip up and eat something that maybe or maybe not healthy. I mean, slipping up and eating a vegetable, if it's green beans, probably not going to bother you.
Yeah.
A potato, probably not going to bother you as long as you only eat one, right? But if you sit down and eat a whole plate full of French fries, well, that'd probably be bad. I mean, so there's limitations, there's amounts, and then it's a matter. I tell people, you are what you think you are, and if you think you're a failure, you'll be a failure, and if you think you're a winner, you're going to be a winner. And a lot of people they use this terminology. Well, I cheated on my diet today. Well, I'm sorry, this isn't a video game. There's no cheat codes.
Yep.
You're just simply eating. You're fueling your body. And so what I tell people to do is it's a treat. It's my birthday. We went out to dinner. We went to Chris Roof's Steakhouse, which if you've never been there, I mean, it's a really nice steakhouse.
Oh, I've been there. Yep.
It's it comes to a pretty hefty price. But of course, they did the whole birthday thing. The wife told him it was my birthday. Put it in the reservation. So they had the whole table and they had little sprinkles of things that said "Happy Birthday" all over and all this. I'm a 49-year-old man. It's not exactly my thing, but okay. They brought me out cheesecake. Well, I'm in carnivore for 6 months. Do I eat it or do I not eat it? Well, you know what? I ate it. Did I feel guilty about it? No. I just said, okay, that was my treat. I deserved it. I'm 49 years old. I've been on this planet for 49 revolutions of the sun. Then why not have a piece of, a cheesecake? Now, if I got up the next morning and wanted more cheesecake, that would be a problem, right?
Right.
And so that's where I start drawing the line. Okay, I ate that, but I'm not going to eat it again tomorrow. I may eat it again next year for my birthday. But, I want to make sure that, that I'm not slipping back down that road. Now, on the other side of it, if my thing with me, and I guess I should qualify that is I didn't eat a lot of sweets in the first place. I ate a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
I didn't eat a lot of sweets. So I don't have an addiction to sweet. I just ate a lot, mostly with soda. My biggest drawback in my diet was Mountain Dews and Coca-Cola.
Wow.
I drank all my calories and then some every single day. I can remember back when, back in, 20, 30 years ago where I was drinking 2 or 3 liters of soda a day, 2 liters. I mean, the big bottles. So I was drinking 6 liters, I said liters, but more like 6 liters because each one of those is 2 liters of soda. And I was drinking 2 or 3 of those a day. So that's 4 to 6 liters of soda. That's a lot of sugar that I was consuming. But, I've weaned myself off of that stuff for a while. But, soda was my big, thing that I had to deal with. And now all I drink is, bottled water.
Right.
And, Treats are okay, but it's a
Yeah.
mindset. You got to tell your mind this is a treat, not a cheat. This is something I'm doing for this moment, not for the rest of this day, not for
I
the
like
rest of
that.
this week. Because that's what people get into, and and I'm not preaching to you. I mean, and I struggle with it. Heck, I just fasted for the last couple of days, and I was driving around yesterday, out doing my sales job, and every time I passed a McDonald's or a Wendy's, my brain's going, you could stop there and get some hamburger patties, and I'm like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I'm literally having an internal fight with myself in my own head, going, no, I'm not stopping and getting that. But in my mind's going, but yeah, you could. Nobody will know. I'm like, no, I'm not stopping. I got things to do. I'm on a fast. I'm doing this for my health, and I, it becomes a battle, and we all deal with it.
Yeah.
So,
No doubt
don't
about
ever
it.
put yourself down for it. Just understand. Okay, move forward. How do we get? How do we learn from what we did yesterday?
Yeah, I think I heard Dr. Barry say if you're gonna do something uh, that's off plan, off a carnivore, do something in the same, like do keto or something low carb. Keep it in the
Cheat
same.
on carnivore with ketovore. Cheat on ketovore with keto. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So
The big thing is keeping it whole, not processed foods, not supping with a bunch of garbage in, because those are the things that are going to cause you the most damage in the long run, right? So you want to stay off the processed food. You want to stay off the fake fats.
yeah, typically, like you said though, that if you the taking it as a treat and not a cheat. Now, my historically, if I would eat the piece of cheesecake or then I would want the rest of the whole pie. I mean, the next day, or I mean, until it's gone. So that's been my history, but I'm trying to trying to change that. Like I can't eat just a couple M&Ms. I want the whole bag, and I don't just want a snack bag. I want a big bag of them.
So that's the difference between a moderator and a somebody that has to completely abstain from it, because you got an addiction to the sweets, and that's a real thing, and I recognize that. Like I said, I
Yeah,
wasn't really addicted to sweets, so it doesn't have the same effect on me that it has on some people, and
right.
that's not putting anybody down. That's just the reality of where we're at.
Everybody's different. Yeah.
Everybody's different, and you got to listen to your body.
Yeah. So we're
But
going up. Me and my wife, I think I told you we talked here a while back. I was on one of your round tables. Me and my wife, we're celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary coming up in November. And we're going on,
congratulations.
thank you. We're going on a 4-day, first time ever on a 4-day cruise. So I'm rambling around in my mind about that. I'm thinking, I'm talking to myself like, I know
Okay,
that there's going to be galore everything you want to eat, but I know
so
there's
let me
also
just
going to be
prepare you
everything
for it.
meat wise.
Okay. Let me prepare you for it. All right. You're going to have access to all kinds of stuff that's off diet, but you don't have to eat it. There's going to be so much of the proteins and stuff there that you're probably going to consume quite a bit of it. And you're going to think that you did well, and you're going to get off the ship, and you're probably going to have picked up 10 or 15 pounds. Don't sweat it.
Yeah,
You had fun. You enjoyed yourself for the 3 or 4 days.
yeah,
It happens to everybody. I don't care who gets on there and what they think they're doing. You're going to get on that ship and you're just going to consume a lot. You
yeah,
know, even if it's carnivore, you're going to consume a lot. You know, and you're probably going to consume a lot of dairy. You might get the pizza at night and just eat the cheese and the toppings off. Which I don't know what ship you're going on, but I was on Carnival and every night the pizza place was open, so you could go out there at midnight and get yourself pizzas they were making fresh there.
yeah. That's
So there's just
Carnival Sunshine is the name of it, I think.
yeah, it's a good ship. So don't beat yourself up that if you come off the ship and your scale goes up.
Yeah,
It's just going to happen. You could probably try to starve yourself on there and still come off the ship because you're on the ship. There's the stress of it. There's all the things you're doing. Your hormones in itself are going to cause you to bulk up some water, and a lot of your
yeah.
weight's probably just going to be water weight. And you're going to come off there, and within a couple days, you're going to shed all that.
Huh.
If you don't get it stuck in your head.
Yeah, well,
You know,
my thinking going into it now is that I'm going to try to document everything that I have, and that thought came up because Again, I hate to go back. I mean, we're all following the different ones on here, but just following Kip's deal and Larry and Cassie from Carnivore Quest. One of their latest things is they've challenged him. You might have seen it, to a 5-day challenge to try to help him get back on track. So I'm jumping in too. I'm gonna do what they're doing, and that's documenting for the next 5 days everything. Which I do that a lot anyway. I just don't post
Good
it.
plan.
But I'm gonna take a picture of everything that I eat over the next 5 days. Now, what I may do is if I can continue that, is when I get on the boat, document everything that I have on the boat. It's probably going to, if they got filet mignon every night, that's probably what I'm going to have. I mean, I like filet.
So, all right, insider tip. Okay. So the first time you're on a cruise and they serve you dinner and you order, I want the lobster and the steak, right? They bring you out this little bitty lobster and this little bitty steak, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to starve to death on this ship. They don't care how many you order. So you tell them, I want 5 lobsters and 3 steaks. You know what they're going to bring you? They're going to bring you 5 lobsters and 3 steaks. And I know that sounds like a lot, but these things are small. But, just take that into consideration. When you're ordering your dinner and they're bringing out the food from down below, they'll bring you whatever you want. And you can leave the sides to the side and they'll haul those things away.
Okay.
All right. So with the nights that they're, they got, lobster's good if you like lobster, and of course they'll probably have ribeye and stuff like that, but it won't be a big chunk of ribeye. It's going to be a little dollop of ribeye or a filet mignon, so you'll want 2 or 3 of them to get yourself a decent meal going. But the great thing is you can just build the meal you want. You can look at it and you can say, oh, over here we got steak and lobster, and over here we got some chicken, and over here you got hamburger with a patty, and say, bring me one of each of those, and then you just take out all the carnivore and eat it, and you leave all the garbage behind.
Yep. All right.
Good advice.
Your word on it. That's good advice for sure.
I think we're 4 days shy of being on our next tier for carnivore, and I'm planning to do another trip. We haven't gone, or not carnivore, for Carnival. We did a whole bunch of cruises a few years ago, and since 2020. And all that, we just haven't been on a cruise, but we're thinking about it for 2024 when we celebrate our 25th anniversary.
Excellent.
So, let's back up through the comments here and look for questions. Now, anybody that wants to ask Randy or myself a question, please put some cues in front of it. I'm going to be looking forward those, and we're going to do some shout outs to a few people here. Of course, we got the Butter Trucker. We'll say hi to the Butter Trucker. And Mama Bear, we appreciate you being here. Kate C, thank you. Rick's in the house, the man, in Florida with his iguanas. Known Insanity, Renee is here. Outstanding. Who else we got? Johns, how are you doing tonight?
Simpson. Is that how you say that, Simpson?
Yeah, Simpson. I wasn't going to try to butcher it, so I was trying to skip it. Let's see here. There was a comment here I wanted to go back to, and it's one that I commented on. Here it is. That's outstanding, man. I'm glad you tried it. It's what I do every morning. I have 2 cups of coffee every morning, and we whip up the whipping cream in there first and then pour the coffee on it. And I absolutely love it. So I'm glad it worked out for you. And I don't know if you're whipping it or not, but heavy whipping cream in your coffee is the bomb. All right.
Do you stress any of some of the people talk about the stuff that's in that heavy whipping cream, or you just get whatever they have? I don't stress the little things like that.
I tried, but it's so hard to come up with organic whipping cream, and I consume so much of it that I'm just like, it's really hard to be 100% clean on this diet. And I know some people in the comments are probably like, but it's just something that you got to make a decision on what battlefield you're going to die on, I suppose. And I'm just not I'm not whipping cream isn't the one that I want to fight over right now because it's got a little bit of the sickening agent in it that everybody says is bad, and I don't doubt that it is. I'm sure it is bad, but it's not one that I can just deal with paying extra for and then struggling to find it because it's just so hard to come by.
I like it, but I quit with the. I just do coffee and butter now, pretty much in the morning times.
There's a place up the road here that if I can get it, I can buy pretty much. It's pasteurized, but it's a locally raised farm, pasteurized cream that's about as close as you can get to raw milk around here, legally, and I could get it there, but the price on it is so expensive, and I consume so much of it, through the week, putting it in my coffee every morning, in my wife's coffee and my daughter's coffee. So I don't know. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
I'd like to be cleaner, but at the same time, my pocketbooks can only go so far. All right. 95 days, lost 21 pounds so far. Congratulations, sir. As Dr. Barry would say, huzzah. Let's see here. Mama Bear says, congratulations, Randy. That's wonderful weight loss. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And let's see, we got Cindy. Hello, Cindy. How are you doing? Hoosier says, I hope Kip's back on the wagon stays there. Me too. I mean,
yeah, we're all
pulling struggle. I had Kip on my channel last week, and right after he was having his his first bout of going off diet there, and since then he's kind of spiraled out of control, and that's a shame.
But I think we've all been there, you know. I watch Kip, man. I see so much of myself in him because I mean I've been up and down so many times, and let something like he mentioned something about getting an argument with your wife or something, letting that kind of derail you and say to heck with it and let's go get a half-gallon ice cream and have a big time, But you got
I mean, and that comes back to emotional eating, and emotions can play havoc on your ability to overcome. When you start eating because you're emotionally upset or something's driving you.
If there's a reason to eat, man, emotional, you name it, I can. I promise you, I can come up with a reason to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like this comment from Hoosier. Says that there's a difference between feeding your body and feeding your addiction.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see here.
And I guess recognizing that is the main thing, when if you can kind of hone in on that and recognize the difference, that's where you feel that you're making progress in,
Cindy says no one is perfect. If you go off plan, just have to get right back on. If one off plan meal leads to one more than you need to stay away. Otherwise, you're good. Yeah. I mean, that's you have to identify it. Okay, I can do this, and I can get away with this, or I could do this, and I spiral out of control. So I better not do this.
I think Cindy. I think I met her at Keto Palooza. I think she was on my team for Name That Tune. We had up there. They had one of the nights was so good to see her.
Somebody said that in there. I saw a comment about you were a master at Name That Tune.
I worked in radio for about 30 years, so I got a little bit of background so.
Mama Bear, that is exactly what those are. They are fake fats, and your body needs fat to build itself. And just think that your whole entire body is built from all those fake fats you've been consuming, and your body's being rebuilt now that you're on carnivore, and that's why our skin gets clearer. We start, our skin gets healthier. It's because we're off the fake fats and we don't look like plastic dolls anymore. You look at there's that one vegan on there. I don't know his name, but he takes like 122 supplements a day or something like that, and he's convinced that he's going to live forever. Not only does he look like a walking vampire, but his skin looks like plastic. It's absolutely insane. Let's see. There's a question. I knew I saw a question here somewhere. All right. Are you planning on keeping up with your walking?
Yes, I am. And I think I was telling you, John, before we got on here that I started doing something a little different. I went back and binge watched. If you've never watched this guy's videos, it's worth. I'm not sure. I've seen things that he may not be alive, but Butter Bob. Have you ever seen any of his stuff?
He's
He's
alive.
from up. Is he alive? Okay, he's from up
Oh, yeah.
your way, I think. So he hasn't done any videos in a long time, but
Nope.
There was one video that talked about, um, you know, he referenced a book and about walking in the morning, first thing when you get up. So I started doing that, and I'm telling you, I feel so much better. And it seems like then when I would walk intentionally in the evening time, that it would affect sleeping patterns for me. But since I get up now, I'm doing 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes in the morning on the treadmill, which I don't like. I don't like the treadmill. I wish I could get outside more, but which I do when I'm at home. I've got a place in my neighborhood I can walk, but it just seems like that makes so much of a difference to how I feel the rest of the day and how I'm sleeping. I feel like I'm sleeping better because I'm doing that walk in the morning time now.
It's
So
good for your soul. It's good for your mind. It's just good for you. I mean, especially if you're out there in the sun and you're getting the sun and you're getting the walking, the fresh air. It has all kinds of benefits for your stress, for your anxiety, for things going on in your life. It's just a great way to declutter all the garbage in you.
and I've signed up for a 5K. I actually, a buddy of mine, they're going up to Mayberry in Mount Airy, North Carolina, for a 5K in a couple of weeks. And I remember when Kip was walking and doing his jogging thing, he was talking about wanting to get to a 5K, and I was like, well, I can't run one. I don't know if I'll ever run. Maybe one day. I don't. I've heard some people say that running's not good for you. It's better. I'm 50 years old. I'm thinking walking. Let's just stick with walking. But I can walk the 5K, and so this past Sunday afternoon, I said, well, let me just see if I can do that without stopping.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. It's about 3.2 miles. So I set out. I think I did it in about an hour and 15 minutes is what it took me to do it. So I can do, which I didn't know before, I can do a 5K. So I signed up for it. So we're going to go up there in November to Mayberry and do the 5K.
That's not far from here. And when is this?
It's November the 11th, I believe, in Mount Airy, North Carolina. Yeah, you could jump on 40 and get over there to it pretty quick from where you are, I would imagine.
Saturday the 11th?
Yep. It's like $35 to sign up. Yeah, come on down, man.
I might just if I can make it up there. I don't know. See this weekend.
I told my wife, and I said, hey, honey, we're going to go up to Mayberry. I said, you can be there and take my picture when I come across the finish line. So we're going to do that.
If I don't have anything planned that day, I'll have to go look at my calendar, but I may try to do that. I might, because that's not far from me. I'm not that far up the road, from North Carolina.
I think look up Mount Airy, North Carolina, 5K, November 11th. You should be able to find it if you Google that.
Remind me at the end of the stream, and I'll dig into it. All right, so you got started on a carnivore. You've been doing carnivore now for, what'd you say, about 6 months?
144 days, whatever that is.
30, 60, 90. Yeah, you're pushing 5 months.
Yeah.
4.5, 5 months. And you've lost how much weight?
66.
66 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably feeling a lot better.
I tell people I feel better than I think I feel better than I've felt, and I can't remember when. And matter of fact, I know you said part of what your job is involved in sales. So a lot of what we do, our company, we take donuts a lot of times to our customers right out of the gate. So I was at Krispy Kreme this morning, get some donuts for customers. And I was talking to the lady in there. I said, I used to be, this would bother me to come in here, but it doesn't bother me anymore. I did tell her that there is one particular Krispy Kreme donut that they did a couple of years ago that if they come back out with, I may have to to veer off carnivore for a couple of days and have, but it was a lemon glazed
Mm.
type, and it had a sour. I want to say sour, but it had a lemony, sweet lemon sour type of taste to it. And to me, it was hands down, it was the best Krispy Kreme donut that they've ever made. But they only did it one time, so that makes me think that it did not do well. So maybe they may not bring it
Sounds
back.
like a really good treat.
So, but I told the girl in there, I was like, look, I said, I told her, I started breaking down the carnivore to her, and she's like, oh, that sounds pretty interesting there. I said, I told her, I said, I'll be back through this way in about a month. You can kind of see my progress. So
there's not a waitress or a waiter in East Tennessee that has served me that hasn't got a full earful of carnivore, because it just becomes a conversation. I posted that clip that the kidnappers returned me because I wouldn't shut up about the proper human diet.
My kids give me a hard time because that's what when we're at a restaurant, I'm like, if they got hamburgers or something, I'm like, hey, what if I want to get an extra patty or two and just no bread? And most of the time they've got to go back and ask somebody if they can do that, which, like last night, I had Five Guys and I got the double bacon burger and then added patties. The patties are $2.50, but they make you buy the whole sandwich first and then it's $2.50 additional for it. So it was
really?
It's about. Now they used to do just solo patties, which would have been $2.50 a piece. So 4 or 5 of those Five Guys burgers is and they don't cook in any oils. Everything's they don't put salt on it, but I'm always carrying some Redmond sea salt to put on my stuff. But it's still when you're still not a bad deal at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you like ground beef.
I think it was you that gave me the trick for McDonald's.
Yep.
And I have that on my phone.
So you pull it up in the app now, right? And so
so you go there, you order it, and then you give them the code, and then it saves it in your phone as an order, and then you can always reorder it again. So that that's nice when I want to do the McDonald's thing. But I've been trying to avoid that place.
Yeah.
I've been trying to avoid McDonald's and Wendy's.
I wish Wendy's could get it in their app like that, but they've not, and that's been a challenge. Sometimes you go into Wendy's and the people, man, I've had one person, they got the manager up there and they're like, I'm sorry, we can't figure out how to ring up solo patties by themselves. But most Wendy's can do it.
McDonald's has been my only struggle for me. I went to McDonald's and they rang it up as steak patties and I ended up paying more for it. And then I went to the McDonald's in Johnson City, and man, they charged me like $3 a patty or something like that. It was just absolutely ridiculous.
It's nice that you can look on your app now, though, and you can see before you go in because mine will adjust it. We've got, like, where I live at in Florence, South Carolina, there's 3 or 4 McDonald's there. I can click on the edit button on the location and see which one's cheaper. And there's one in our town that's $1.25 for a large quarter-pound patty.
Cool.
So not a bad deal.
So that works us perfectly into my next question. Tell me about your YouTube channel name.
So basically it came up. I was trying to think about what I was going to call it, and my mom, because I loved hamburgers growing up, that's my thing, man. Always been hamburgers. She called me Wimpy. I mean, that was because Wimpy's like the guy on Popeye. If you remember the cartoon, Wimpy was the guy that he just eat hamburgers all the time. So I was like, I looked up some Wimpy carnivore. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody will remember that may not sound right, but that's kind of where it came from. Is I guess my love for hamburger. And so I just thought ground beef guy would be something simple.
The younger generation, us that have been around for a while, remember Popeye, but I doubt the younger generation would know what you're talking about.
But I would probably, I I do love steak. Don't get me wrong. I mean, filet mignon is probably my preferred cut. I mean, I'm not as there's a couple of places I can get a ribeye that I really like the ribeye. Um, yeah, stomaching the fat part of it. I know everybody, they preach the fat. That it wigs me out a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, I still will. I'll stomach it down some, but it still gags me a little bit to eat some of that fat like that. But
It's a transitional thing that you definitely have to work on. Susie here says, what would you say was the toughest part of your transition to carnivore?
probably just, you know, I worked for Bluebell Ice Cream for about 3 years. And they come out with a new flavor every so often. Just knowing that, I mean, I want to promote them because I like that company. I enjoyed working for them. And I love going and trying out the new flavors when they come out and that kind of thing. But I don't know, just, you know, having to say, you know what, I can't do that, man. I'm going to, somebody said one time, you don't see a lot of old people that are fat. So I was at that point. I got to do something. And, maybe eventually one day I may be able to, have some, but moderation, I can't do it at this point. So,
No, absolutely. I think the biggest thing for me was cutting the soda, um,
yeah.
because soda was my crutch, and I actually would go to the soda machine, buy a soda, walk back to my workstation, and be like, why did I do that? I mean, it was such a force of habit. But then I would sit there with a soda on the counter that it didn't even open, and I end up passing off to somebody because I was just so in that force of habit that I would just go to the machine and get me a soda out of it,
Mm,
even though I wouldn't drink it. So that was a struggle for me. Let's
yeah.
see. Here's a good point. John says the cruise ships are so big you can make your rounds and do steps, and that's very true. There's like you can just start walking the laps, and you can get a lot of steps in on a ship.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out. That's for sure. I'm going to check every square inch of it and see
Then
the
you
whole
got
thing.
going up and down stairs and different levels, and there's plenty of places to get exercise. But like I said, don't be discouraged when you come back and you weigh 10 pounds heavier than when you left,
Mm,
because it's most of it's just going to be water weight. It's
yeah.
just going to be the stress of it all. Trust me, you will be stressed, to get on that ship.
Really?
It's just so much to go through. You got to get through cut. You're going on there, you got to check in, you got to get your luggage, you got to follow all the rules, you got to make sure you have your paperwork out, you got to do all this stuff. And then you're going to get on the ship, and the first thing they're going to do is funnel you all up to the Lido deck, which is where Guy's Burger shop is up there, which
Right.
is good because you get all the burgers you want, so you'll be happy with the ground beef part of it. But there's a bunch of garbage on that thing that you won't want to eat. But there's gonna be bacon. There's gonna be some really good stuff there. And then you got to hang out there for a while because you can't go to your room because they're not done cleaning from the last cruise. Literally, when
Uh,
that ship comes in, they start, they kick everybody off and they start cleaning. And so you can't get to your room. Your luggage is not with you. You're just kind of in a limbo trying to wait for the ship to set sail for you to be able to access your room. There's just all this stuff going on. So the first part of it's going to stress you out. Then you're going to be relaxed and enjoy your cruise, which will be nice. And the first day will be a little bit, probably be a little bit stressed, but then the second, third day you'll start getting comfortable, and then the cruise will be over, and then you got to
right.
get off the ship. So there's the whole stress you got, because they're literally just funneling you off. Like they got to clean the ship, they got to get you off. So they got this plan in place to get you off, but then you got to go back through customs. You got to have your paperwork out. There's a lot of things going on there, and
Uh,
your body is going to be stressed a little bit.
uh,
It's just part of the game, and so that stress will lead to water weight, and water weight will lead to weight on the scale. But that's not fat. That's not life threatening. That's not something that's going to kill you. It's just part of life.
So with it
So
being just 4 days, I think we're just gonna take carry-on bags, like you do on an airplane, that one bag.
my
So
internet bumped for a second there. What did you say? What? Go
I
back and say
said
that again.
with it being just 4 days, I think we're just gonna each of us take a carry-on bag, like what you do on an airplane, and
And you can do that. I
that'll
mean, four
avoid. I
days.
won't have to check anything then, right?
You won't have to check any luggage to make things better. But if you buy anything while you're at port, you know, um, so
Well, this
obviously, I
one's
mean,
just. I think this one's just going to Half Moon Cay, so I don't know if there's anything to buy there or not. I don't
there's
know.
every
There's
port's
always
that's all.
somewhere to buy, right?
All those ports are as tourist traps. They're designed to sell you stuff. So there'll be all kinds of stuff there to buy. A
Yeah,
lot of it's alcohol, so you probably don't have to worry about that because you're probably not going to be buying alcohol.
no.
But there's a lot of gifts and trinkets and this and that, and so you know you got to be able to get it off the ship too. So you want to be comfortable carrying stuff. So just take that into consideration. Suitcases are nice to stuff things in. When
Okay.
when you're leaving. Normally, I check my baggage in, but I carry my baggage out.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So in, I let them do it. Out, I do it because I want to get all my stuff out. All right, let's move through some comments here. We're 51 minutes into this. You good on time? Because here I want to go through the comments here real quick.
Oh yeah, man. I'm good.
Okay.
We can party all night long, man.
Okay. As long as I don't want to hold you up from anything.
Nah.
Let's see. So this person says, how often would you eat something like lobster or fish instead of red meat? Do you consider it more of a treat or a special occasion food? Thank you. No, I mean, it's animal based. You can eat it anytime that you want. Obviously, red meat, fatty red meat, red meat with some butter or something like that is going to be more nutritious. But I love having some salmon. If I had access to lobster and it wasn't so expensive, I'd eat lobster. It's good for getting iodine into your system more naturally than taking a supplement because most of us are lacking in iodine. So any fish that you consume that's wild fish is good for you.
I've
I
done
like.
that. Go ahead.
What's
I'm
that?
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that I've done the that endless shrimp at Red Light because I'm on the road. I eat out a lot, but I do the shrimp scampi and get nothing else, and it's it comes out in butter.
Mm-hmm.
So I've eat that till I can't eat anymore.
I like buying shrimp and having it with my steak. So most nights I have steak and steak and eggs. The wife will scramble up eggs. I'll have a steak. I'll have eggs. I'll have quite a bit of butter on top of it. So that I'm getting my fat because normally my steaks are probably a sirloin that are not overly fatty. And so to get the level of fat that I want in my diet, I end up adding grass-fed butter.
Do you
But
do you look at the macros and stuff much?
no, this is carnivore, not keto.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never done that either.
Keto, everybody wants to know their macros. Carnivore, my biggest thing is, for the lack of a better way to describe it, if you go to the bathroom and it's easy, or if it's too easy, you got too much fat. If it's too hard, you got too little fat.
Is it a bad thing to have too much fat?
No, but it'll just make you easy in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm just being clean as I can be about that.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. It'll be a lot quicker and simpler. But that's where the fat is. If you eat too much fat, you're just going to crap it out. I mean, there's no way around it. Gotcha. If you're not getting enough fat, then you might get a little bound up a little bit. And you'll know it. All right. But yeah, fish is really good for you. And fish provides a bunch of nutrients, omega-3s. There's a bunch of different things that you can get there. There's a lot of omega-3s in beef, so you don't have to worry about not eating fish. People like, steak, ribeye has more omega-3s than the salmon does. So, you don't have to worry about your omega-3s. And like this person said, seafood's too expensive, so definitely a treat. Yeah, I would. That's what it comes down to. Is if I could find it and it's cheap enough, I buy it. If it's not, then I don't. Let's see.
Hey, what'd you get when you went to Ruth Chris? Because I'm going in a couple weeks.
Oh, the ribeye.
You got the ribeye.
Oh yeah, I got the ribeye.
So I've had the filet there before.
20 something ounce, 22 ounce, something like that. It was my camera. There it is. It was thick.
Okay.
It wasn't overly big, but it was a thick, juicy ribeye.
All right, I might
And it
get
was
that
good.
when I go.
I don't know if it was as good as the price tag was, but it was good.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be going to one up in Delaware that week. The next time I go up there, which is in a couple of weeks.
I bought better ribeyes at the store and cooked them myself and enjoyed them more than I enjoyed that for a lesser price. But it was good. It was a nice treat.
I always feel like what I cook on my grill at home or in the frying pan at home is better than anything I could pay for at a restaurant. So I feel like I season it right. Which really, man, salt. I mean, I don't know about you, but man, I salt everything big time.
Yeah, salt so if you think about it, on the standard American diet and eating highly processed foods, there's salt in everything.
Yeah.
And when you go to a carnivore diet, you start eating clean, there's salt on nothing unless you add it, and that's why we end up craving a lot of salt because you need it. You need it for body function. You need it for electrolytes. You need it for a lot of things. I'm a hunter. I hunt deer. I put out salt, and deer will search out salt more than they'll search out food.
Interesting.
Because they need they need the salts and the minerals in their diet too. And I got camera proof of deer. Maybe I'll do a video on this at some point where deer that were looked like they were starving and were unhealthy, simply providing them, a balance of salt and other minerals I was putting out there. The camera over weeks, you could watch their health improve and their overall physique improve because salt's a major, nutrient that everybody needs, especially if you're a mammal. Trini, always good to see you. Trini is one of my, Trina, not Trini. Trina is one of my first fans, first subscribers. She's always here, and I do appreciate her. All right. This person said 66 pounds is a huge less than the 5 months. Congrats, Randy. Absolutely. He's doing great. I was telling him, he's in 5, working on 6 months. He's at 66 pounds. I'm at 8 months and 80 pounds. I mean, he's not that far behind me,
Yeah, there was a few times we all watch Sean, so I'm like, I know people say don't compare yourself to others, but I'm like, man, it's hard not to. And I mean, you want to do the same thing he's doing.
Yeah, Sean set that bar so high, it's hard to even see it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was intentional. I mean, the intentional carnivore, he did everything with intention, and it led to his weight loss. And if we had that intention, we could probably do it too. But he is the beast. Have you watched him eat? Did you see that video he did where they all ate eggs on the live stream?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, he was running that down like it was a backhoe.
Fierce
beast. I love him dearly. He's a great guy.
Man. Yes, sir.
Carney Blog says you are a great example, Randy.
Thanks, man. He's right there with us. He's in there. He's getting in it pretty good now too. Carnivlog.
Yeah, the trick is with McDonald's, either use the app or tell them you want to order off the a la carte menu. Yeah, until you get the one that's just like, I don't know where it's at. And you have to tell them, I think it's under your breakfast menu. I've discovered it, at least it's around here, that the button's hid under breakfast for some reason. The add patty button is hid under breakfast. It's weird. Here's a reference for you. I'll pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today.
That's right. That's Wimpy.
I'll gladly pay you tomorrow. I love ribeyes from Trader Joe's at $10 a steak. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I don't have a Trader Joe's near me. I've heard people talk about them though.
Trina says, John, stop laughing out. We're not letting you become the cruise director. I love to cruise, and I haven't been on one in several years, so I don't know. Maybe I'm biting at the bit. I was looking at that low carb cruise in May of 2024, and I'd love to do that. It's an 8-day cruise.
I think whenever I was at Keto Palooza, the two crazy ketos said they're going to do a cruise coming up.
That's the
Is
same
that
one.
the one?
It's
Is it the same one?
last week of May. The last week of May, it's an 8-day cruise, low carb cruise. Two crazy ketos are there. Dr. Hampton is going to be on there. There's a bunch of others. Yeah, I was looking at it last night. I actually emailed them on it. I just don't know if I got the funds to make that happen or not. But
Is it a little more expensive than
it's
average?
not.
Yeah.
It's not more expensive. It's just a matter of whether I can swing the money that direction or not. It was a 2-person room was in the $1,600-$1,700 range for 8 days. I mean, that's actually really good. And it's on a Royal Caribbean ship, which I've never been on, so that would be interesting to do too.
Yeah, for sure.
Cindy says it took me 23 months to lose just over 100 pounds. Maintained that for a little over a year now. Congratulations, Cindy. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is great. That's inspirational for sure.
Not all McDonald's have a la carte menus, unfortunately. Yeah, to see it, the thing about McDonald's, they are a franchise, and the franchise can choose not to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I've ran into one or two of those.
Two crazy ketos is also doing their own. Yeah, we just talked about that. I'm at the bottom of the comments. If you got any more questions here, we'll go a few more minutes, and then we're going to close this down. But if you got any questions for Randy or myself, put some cues there and pop them in the comments, and we'll gladly answer them. We are sitting at, looks like 13 in the stream at the moment, so we appreciate you being here.
Okay, I see what she's saying. That they're doing one in January with no speakers, just a fun type. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I saw that one too. I think that was. Yeah, I think that was actually that might have even been on a Carnival ship. I was looking at that one too.
So, like I said, we're doing this one in November. I mean, I would be down. I'm not one for cold weather, so I would be down for the something like that in the wintertime, going down to where it's hot.
So it used to be, and things are not the same now after 2020. But it used to be you could find a cruise in December and January and pay nothing. You could do a 5-day cruise and get it for a few $100s. But now these ships are pretty full. Everybody seems to be cruising now that they were stuck in their houses for the crazy year of 2020.
Yeah, true.
So Randy, I think we've already answered this, but I'm going to ask it again. So who was your main carnivore that inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, the main one. It's hard to. I mean, I would guess I'm going to say Sean is the one that really, helped me kind of, put it in gear.
Mm-hmm.
But all those other those ones that we've talked about, I've been kind of fought like Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan and all those the stars of the carnivore world, I guess you could say, are the. But I'm gonna say Sean, Intentional Carnivore, is the one that really made me flip the switch and say, I'm gonna go for it. He's done it. I can do it. So
Sean is such a humble man, and I appreciate him dearly, but I don't think he realizes the extent and the stretch and how widespread his message has been to all of us.
Yeah, he's made a great impact.
What a blessing. And yeah, I mean, the impact, because he's impacted your life. Now you're impacting somebody else's life. And that's just a snowball effect. And, he's a great dude. I love him dearly. And, he's humble and I don't think he just really understands the true effect that his move, his intentionalness has made on everybody else.
Yeah.
So,
hey, it's an exciting time, man. It's exciting to be a part of what's going on here. I mean, I want to I want us all to just, we gotta keep getting this message out and keep it going forward. I mean, keep this team building up this, to make a change in the world. I mean, it's almost like the government and everybody else is trying to fight against us. I mean, they had that Harvard study that came out the other day that how dumb was that
Well, that wasn't for us. You know who that was for. I mean, you know what they did. I mean, if you think about it, why would you put this out now? Why would you do this? So if you go back and actually read the study, which I've done, and I've looked at the press release and I've looked at the information on it. So what was the motivation of doing this? Well, you have to ask yourself, because it's us carnivores are just laughing at them like, this is the dumbest thing possible.
Right.
Anybody with a little bit of common sense knows that eating red meat doesn't jack your glucose level up, so that's not running you into diabetes. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. So you go back and you look at this and you're like, who was this focused at? Who did they want to impact? Well, they wanted to impact the people who were uninformed and didn't know what was going on, and scare them, because fear controls the masses.
That's
fear always controls the masses. Hitler knew that. Hitler did it to his country. He controlled the masses by fear, and that's exactly what that was. It was a way to throw out information that they knew was garbage. They knew the information was garbage, and they knew it was going to get debunked by everybody out there. But those people that it was focused on aren't listening to the people that we're listening to. They're not listening to the people that are going to debunk it. They're just hearing that in the news. The news said this causes diabetes. Red meat causes diabetes. And these people who don't know and aren't informed and aren't educated into what's going on in the world, they're going to be scared, and they're going to believe that, and that's the motive and the means behind it, because the rest of it was garbage. And anybody a 3-year-old could debunk that whole study, because the whole thing's garbage. They didn't even do it on questions from now. The questions that they took and they did the study on are from the 1980s and 1990s on questionnaire surveys that were done, what is that, 30 years, 30, 40 years ago. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The whole thing is absurd and bizarre. But if you think about it and who they were focusing it on, it wasn't for us that we're going to fight against it and claim against it. It was the people who are outside that box that we haven't reached yet. That's who that was focused on. That was to put, fear in people's mind about going carnivore, because carnivore is a big movement. There's lots of people going carnivore. I've moved people to carnivore. You've moved people to carnivore. There's people in this chat room that have moved people to carnivore, and they want to put fear in everybody else to keep you from being able to move people to carnivore, because a sick population is an easy population to manipulate.
No doubt about it.
And that's a fact. And I'll stand 100% behind that comment.
I'm with you on that, man, for sure.
Let's see. Looking at comments here, looking to see if there's anything I want to. I agree with Hoosier. There should be some type of legal cost to publishing articles. It's criminal. It's absolutely insane, and it's criminal. But they get away with it. I mean, if you look at the all the research. I mean, you go to your doctor and they tell you that you got to consume, fiber. You got to have fiber in your diet. That's the word I'm looking for. But you go back and actually read that study, you're like, this study doesn't say anything about consuming fiber leads to anything. The study, when conducted on fiber, said that those people who consumed a lot of fiber, and had colon cancer had less mortality. So they consumed a lot of fiber. 2, they had colon cancer already and they died less. Those is what the study found. You can go read it yourself. It doesn't say that consuming this for a long period of time in your life will reduce colon cancer. It doesn't say anything about that. It just simply says that these people who consumed a lot of fiber had colon cancer died less. You know, that's not what they put out at the doctor. The doctor tells you got to have fiber in your diet. My doctor tried telling me when I went in there, well, you're going to have to consume Metamucil if you're going to stay on this diet. And I'm like,
No.
So, anyways, sorry, got a little passionate there for a second.
That's good, man.
You know, that study came out, and I was just like, what the heck? That is the stupidest thing I've ever read. And I encourage you, Dr. Kim Berry put a video out on it. Excuse me. Dr. Kim Berry put a video out on it. Go into show notes, click on the links, and follow it back and actually read, the press, the press release, because the press release doesn't say anything that the press said. The press took it and said it causes this. Press release says it may cause this. Those are two different words, right? May or will. Will cause is implement. May means it could possibly happen. And then I like what Dr. Berry said is if you go back to the smoking studies they did, the risk factor was like 25% risk factor that this could happen. This study that they just put out that everybody's going crazy about had a risk factor of 1.5. 1.5.
That's the big problem. That's the problem in our world today. Well, especially here in America, man. Just like he's saying, there is no consequence. You can lie. You can lie as all the day is long, and there's no consequences for your lying. Even at the highest level, they can lie.
Yeah, it don't matter. I mean, olive oil is not olive oil. You can go buy 100% olive oil. And get, and it'll say the best olive oil. It'll be virgin, extra virgin, but they can put up to 50% of seed oil in it and get away with it without labeling it. 50 freaking percent of your olive oil can be seed oil, soybean oil, and they don't have to tell you that, because they can get away with it in this country because the FDA is giving them the power to do that. People will look and say, well, I'm going to get grass-fed beef. Well, grass-fed beef doesn't mean that it was fed grass. It just means it was in a pasture and it had access to some grass and whatever else it was eating out there. But it doesn't mean it was eating grass and grass-fed in the Nevada desert. I lived, 40 years in Nevada. You got cheatgrass out there and there's cattle out there, and you got to have like 1 cow per 100 acres. That's considered grass-fed, just like the cow here in Tennessee that's sitting on a half an acre that's eating grass. Well, the grass here is a lot more plentiful and a lot better nutrition than the grass in Nevada because just by the nature of the beast. So, grass-fed doesn't mean what you think it means either. And they use these words interchangeably to make you believe that you're getting something that you may or may not be getting. And I encourage anybody that, if you want to buy grass-fed, what you really want is you want humanely raised. You want to know your farmer. So, go get on a website, look up a local farmer, find somebody local that you can buy your meat from, and look them in the eye and have a conversation with that person, and you'll know what you're eating because that person's going to be conversing with you. Just because it says grass-fed on a package, it don't mean nothing. It's just like they say sugar-free on ice cream. You were talking about ice cream earlier. Yeah. Sugar-free on ice cream doesn't mean it doesn't have something sugary in it. It just means it doesn't have sugar in it. Doesn't mean it doesn't have dextrose in it. It doesn't mean it doesn't have like 60 other freaking words that they use for sugar that they can hide it on.
Yeah,
it's like absolutely insane.
A lot of them say no sugar added. There's none added to it. It's already got a whole bunch in it. What do you mean?
Yeah. So you can't take a word for, you can't, they tell you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, you can't judge anything by the label that's put on it by our society. You have to deep dive into it and figure out what's actually the truth. And that's the difference between us and those who are just rolling, like sheep with the herd. Yeah. You got to delve in. You got to figure it out. You got to figure out what works for you. You got to listen to your body and make it happen. Randy, I'm sorry I got on a rant there.
Oh, that's good.
Let me give this back to you here. So, Randy, give me some final thoughts. Give me some words. Give me something that you would tell somebody that was just starting out on the diet. Just kind of bring me around and then I'll finish this out of here, sir.
Yeah, I would just say if you're considering it or even giving it a thought, try to at least give it 30 days, jump on it, and, whatever meat you can think of, eat it until you're satisfied. Don't stress the, don't stress 1 or 2 times, 3 times a day, whatever it is, just eat until you're satisfied. And typically what you'll find is you're not that hungry very much after you do it for a little while. And if I could bottle up how good I feel and give you a big drink of it, then I promise you'd want some of it. Because I mean, I'm at 368 pounds now, which I mean, that's still, I'm a pretty good sized fella. But I feel better right now, like I said, than I have in a long time. And so I just want to say, go for it. If you want to see what the hype's about, and I'm not looking at it. I'm not looking at it I am looking at it more of a lifestyle than a diet. I mean, I don't see myself uh, wavering from this way of life from here on out. I mean, this is this is the lane I'm getting in to stay, and this is what I would encourage anybody, even if there's lurkers out there that may catch this video at a later time. I'm telling you, it works.
Outstanding, sir. Outstanding.
Yep.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Look, carnivore. Well, let me start off by saying this. Me and Randy, we're not doctors. Randy's driving a truck and I'm selling truck parts. That's
Right.
what we are. I'm a salesman and he's a truck driver. That doesn't make us qualified in the carnivore diet, to be doctors in it, but we are qualified in it, that we're experts at it because we've been doing it for, a period of time, and we've learned some things and we're just sharing our experiences, and there's other good people in here like Who's Your Carnivore and other channels that are on here that are doing things to help you out. So find your tribe, find who you communicate with, and get there and just, work through it, learn, do your research, figure out what works for you and your body. And, you'll find a way to do it. Do you have to do 100% carnivore? Probably not. Can you do ketovore and still do on this? My wife's lost 40 pounds and she's ketovore. She's primarily carnivore, but she still likes some vegetables from time to time. She's lost 40 pounds. But also remember that fat, in any form isn't the disease. It's the sugar and the carbohydrates that we consume that causes metabolic health. You can be as skinny as a rail and still be metabolically unhealthy because of all the crap that you're eating. So it's really, we all focus on weight because a lot of us are overweight, but even the skinny guy, can be just as near death. I got a friend at work who had surgery recently for cancer and stuff, and he's skinny as a rail. It doesn't have anything to do with your weight. It has everything to do with your metabolic health, and that comes from eating a high carbohydrate diet and of course the fake fats. So cut that stuff from your diet and follow the channels that you like. I ask that you reach out and like button, subscribe button to my channel. I'm, as of the beginning of this video, like 26 subscribers shy of 1,000. I'm
Nice.
looking forward to hitting that mark. Let's see here. I'm going to put this up. You see here. I meant to put this up earlier, but we got sidetracked and I forgot, so I apologize. Let's see. All right. There's Ground Beef Guy's site or his YouTube channel. He's got a space on a hamburger patty here. That's, the best icon I've ever seen right there. Yeah.
My kids laughed at that one big time.
He's got 627 subscribers. He's got 51 videos out. He's got some great stuff. He does a lot of walking. He does some inspired stuff. Here's a little video from him.
Well, good evening, everybody. Ground Beef Guy here. I'm on another walk tonight on this day 22 of the October 2023 step challenge. I'm going to check in for a minute, tell you what I'm going to do. Been thinking about something for a while. I was watching Kip, Carnivore Kip.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
So, great channel. Give him a like, give him a subscribe, check him out. If you're catching this on the replay, go find his channel. give him a shout out. Tell him that you saw his story and you were inspired. I'm sure he would love to hear that.
Absolutely.
Randy, I appreciate you, bud.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. And of course, it was nice to meet you down there at the meetup. And
and we'll
I'm
do
excited
some more.
about.
Like I said, I'm really thinking about that. That November 11th. We need to get together and we'll do some. Do a meetup. I'm thinking about doing a meetup in the spring. I'm going to start working out the details of that. Here maybe in the Pigeon Forge, Sevierville area, something like that. Maybe get one of those one of the places in the park. A little group picnic area and invite people in, and we'll do some barbecue or something, and have something catered in. I just have to figure out the expenses of it and what how to charge reasonably so that everything's covered and everybody can have a good time.
There's plenty of places up there to do one of those.
Oh yeah, there's some beautiful places up there. Spring would be nice. I'd actually almost like to do this time of year, like next year in the fall when the trees are in color, because it's just so beautiful up there this time of year. I get lucky and I get to drive up there, 2 or 3 times a week now. I get to drive up into the Smokies and meet up with some customers, and it's just absolutely gorgeous up there this time of year.
Absolutely.
So, all right, I'm going to put up my closing screen, and I will talk to you off stage here in about 20 seconds, sir. Everybody, you have a good night. I appreciate you. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, go over to Randy's channel, at Ground Beef Guy, and give him a like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.